Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I'm going to discuss having clause in SQL, and also I will discuss how to copy a data from a table, how to copy a data from a table into new table using following two statements. First one is select into, and next is insert into. Okay, insert into select statement. So I'm going to discuss having clause, select into, and insert into statement in SQL. Okay, let's see how we can use having clause and when to use having clause. I will discuss first. So basically, having clause is added in SQL because of some deficiencies of where clause. So we have seen how we can use. So I will select first data cell. So database, I will say use cells. Inside a cells, there is a table called cell. So I can fetch the data, right? Select, I will say star from cell. And like this, we were able to fetch the data. If you want to add the filter, yes, you are able to add the filter using where clause. Okay. And if I try to add where city, okay, where city, we can say city is equal to, but there are a n number of cities. So let me say instead of cities, I will use sales. Okay, instead of sales, I would like to do something else. What I would like to do, I would like to get a count of cities. Okay, so instead of selecting this, I will say segment wise count. I will ask. Okay, and I will use group by. Okay, so segment followed by count of cities. So I should not write of here. I will write count of cities from sales table where is different. Okay, where instead of where I will say group by. Okay, group by, we need to first it group by segment, right? And suppose I would like to city, instead of city I will change this to state so that we can have more number of values. Okay, I want count of state, sorry, count of city, state wise we can say. Instead of segment I will say state. Okay, so this will be easier for me to do. So now we have a state-wise count of city from this statement, right? This is what I already discussed how to use this. And suppose if I wanted to apply the filter, okay, and if I try to add the filter where, okay, where count of city is greater than 50. So I want a state name which has city count greater than 50. And if I try to execute this, okay, if I try to execute this, it will say that you have a syntax error. So this is not valid. Okay, we won't be able to use aggregation functions in where clause to give the condition. And because of this deficiency, having clause is added in SQL. So instead of this, I will say having. And now if I execute this statement, you will see the output like below, right? So now we have all the states who is having a city more than 50 cities. This is how it works. Having clause is added in SQL to overcome the deficiency of where clause we can use with conditional operator, but we won't be able to use the aggregation functions such as, so we know aggregation functions mean, max, count, sum, and average. So these functions we won't be able to use in where clause. To overcome that issue, having clause is added in SQL. That is the only purpose of adding having clause, addition of having clause in SQL, so that you can use aggregation functions in filter also, right? That is what I would like to tell. Next is, suppose if you want to copy the data. Okay, our next agenda is for today's session, if I say is, you suppose if you want to copy a data from table into new table, okay, into new table. So you can use either select into or insert into select statement. Okay, then this is fine. This is fine. Okay, so let's start with select into. So how we can use. So first of all, whenever you have to use select into statement, I will say select into. Whenever you have to use select into statement, what you need to do? I first you need to create a new table since we don't have any table, right? So definitely we are supposed to create a table, and you have to start writing like this: create table, and you have to pass this table name. I will say cells 2, cells 2. And once the table is created, you don't need to define the column name and all. You have to directly write select all from cells. Okay, all from cell. This is what my table name. Cells is my schema name, okay, or database name. So instead of that, I will say order ID. Okay, I will just select few column order date. You have to pass the accurate column name, otherwise it is not going to work. Okay, and I will say quantity from cell, right? And I will execute this. The moment I execute this, you can see that there is a new table created called sales 2, and you can see that it has only 4 columns here: order ID, order date, sales, and quantity, whatever the data I have passed from this. And this statement copy all these 4 columns into a new table called sales 2. Now you have to fetch the record from table called sales 2. So cell 2, I will so select all from cell 2, and this will give me new tables records, right? So we are using this select into statement, right? We are able to copy the data from one table into a new table. Same thing we can do using insert into select statement. But how to do that? How to do that? So whenever you have to use insert into statement, suppose if you have created table already, okay, means whenever you don't have to create, or you don't need to create a table to insert the record, table is already created. In that case, you can use insert into select statement. So now I would like to create a table. What I will do, I will go to the schema, and from this definition, I will select this and I will create a new table. Okay, because table 3, I would like to have cells 3, and this is how I can create a table. I just copied a table definition. I have created a table 3, table called cell 3. Here you can see that. And cell 3 don't have any record. Cell 3 don't have any record. So what I can do now? Now I have a table, and I have to copy the data from cell table into cell 3 table. In that case, if table is already created, then you can directly use insert, okay, my bad, insert into I will say cell 3, okay, and I will say select, and whatever the column names you have already selected, or already not selected, but whatever the data or whatever the columns you have created, in cell 3 table, in cell 3 table, you have to use those columns only. Okay. If you pass extra column, it will not work. If you pass less number of columns, it will not work. So it should have a same number of columns to copy the data, and you can execute this. And the moment I execute this, now you are able to see the data, what data it has copied from cell table to cell 3 table. And if I execute this, you can see that did I inserted anything manually? Nothing, right? I'd simply copy the data from this cell table into a cell 3 using insert into. So basically, I would like to conclude this video. Insert into is used when you have a table which is already created, and suppose you need to create a new table, you are supposed to use this select into statement. So this with create table statement. So this will work. This will create a table and copy the data, right? And as I discussed earlier, having clause is used, always used with group by, because where clause won't be able to filter the records based on aggregation functions or aggregation function results. So that's the deficiency of where clause. That is what overcome by adding having clause in SQL. So I hope you got a clear idea about having clause, select into, or how to copy the data from one table to new table using select into or select in insert into select statement. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day.